Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. Today I thought I'd just film a basic healthcare check. Healthcare check is really important on guinea pigs, seeing as they hide illnesses very well. I'd probably recommend doing this at least once a week. If your guinea pigs live inside and you're spending a lot of time with them, you do tend to pick up on if anything's wrong on a day-to-day basis anyway, but it is really important to regularly check your guinea pig. I thought I'd have Noah as my little helper today because he's so used to being handled and he just stays still and he just doesn't mind. He's such a good boy. So yeah, he's going to be my little helper. So at the start of a health check, I'd usually say weigh your guinea pig. Just your average kitchen scales is what I use anyway. So weigh the guinea pig, jot it down in a notebook, and then you can just keep on track of their weight. Noah actually weighs a hefty, I think he's about 1.3 kilograms, just over that. He's a big boy, and he always has been, but it's not a worry or an issue. But I know his weight now, like pretty much off by heart. So he's such a good boy. Okay, so generally with healthcare check-in, I start from the face and then work my way down. I'd start at the mouth. So as some of you guys may know, that Noah only has 3 front teeth. So he's probably not the best example, bless him. But I do have to trim those pretty regularly, like every 2 to 3 weeks. So it's important for me to keep a check on Noah's teeth especially. Obviously we can't check their back teeth, only a vet can do that. But when we're looking at the front teeth, he thinks I've got food. When we're looking at the front teeth, we just want to make sure they're short and they're straight and no sign of breakage or anything like that. So it's pretty easy if your guinea pig lets you do this. You just have a little look. Come on, Noah. Noah doesn't want me to right now. Come on, Noah, show me up. So yeah, Noah's are fine. Noah's are straight. Probably need a trim soon, but they're absolutely fine. So they look well. Next, I'd go onto the nose, so the nostrils. Are they clean? Are they free of any discharge? Obviously, discharge can indicate an upper respiratory infection. It is the main cause for a runny nose, but Noah's is fine. It's not crusty or anything like that. It's really clean, so he's all good there. The next would be the eyes. I think the eyes are really important when it comes to healthcare check-in. I think the eyes can tell you a lot. So Noah actually has something called PI, also known as fatty eye, which is just this white underneath his eye. It can be old age, but Noah's not that old, and it developed when he was about 5 months. So for Noah's case, it is genetic. But again, with the eyes, it's important to make sure they're free of any discharge, they're not runny, they're not crusty. Noah's are very slightly crusty, but that's pretty common in guinea pigs and I'm not worried about that. But if they are crusty, you can just bathe it off or it might just drop off. And also with the eyes, you need to look at whether they look like dull. The more you own guinea pigs, the more you get to know that. Whether they look ill in their eyes. When you've had sick guinea pigs, you can really see it in their eyes. Well, I can anyhow. So I can really tell if a guinea pig looks unwell. Also, do their eyes look sunken? Because if they're sunken, that can mean dehydrated. I've had that a couple of times as well. It happened to Bear after his surgery for neutering. He had sunken eyes because he wasn't drinking enough, and then you just know really. So yeah, that's your eyes, isn't it, Noah? And also, when we're doing these healthcare checks, it's really important to have some treats. So the treats just, you know, make it a little bit more boring for them and makes them behave a little bit more. I mean, Noah doesn't really need treats to bribe him. He's pretty well behaved. Here you go, Noah. Good boy. Boy. But I think treats just make it a bit of a nicer experience for them for next time. So once we've checked the eyes, I then go onto the ears. So again, look in the ears. Do they look crusty or waxy? Noah's ears are really clean, like all the time, compared to Tilly's, who she's very prone to a build-up of wax, specifically in her right ear, which she's actually been to the vets for a couple of times recently. So with her, I do have to make sure like she's cleaned regularly, or else it gets a bit uncomfortable for her. You can buy like ear wipes for guinea pigs, which I have actually used before, and it just gets rid of like the dirt, just general day-to-day dirt on their ears. But generally I don't really clean their ears, to be honest. I only mess with their ears if they need to be messed with. I don't think you should be messing with ears. Never prod anything down their ears. Just kind of leave them be unless there's a problem and you need to go to a vet. But generally I leave them alone. With the ears as well, guys, the backs of them, they naturally have a, I don't know if you can see, naturally have a bald spot at the back of their ear. So a lot of people can be a bit alarmed by this, but it's absolutely normal. There's nothing to worry about. All guinea pigs have that bald spot on the back of their ears. Okay, so whilst we're around the facial area, we need to make sure that there's no crustiness, there's no bald patches, because fungal ringworm, it's common for fungal and ringworm specifically to start on the face. I've had that before. It usually starts on the nose or on the eyes. It can be crusty, usually white, and it's really important you get that treated as soon as possible. And thank you for the kisses, Noah. And also just be careful with yourself as well, because ringworm is a zoonotic disease, so you can actually catch ringworm too, and vice versa. You can keep passing it on to each other from the guinea pig to a human. So just be mindful of that and get it treated really quickly, because it can spread very fast, ringworm can. Okay, so that's the face. Next I would look at his coat in general. So again, are there any bald patches? Is his coat thinning? Does his coat look dull? Noah's coat's very shiny and soft and there's no bald patches. Bear recently had some bald patches and he was quite, I don't know, he just seemed quite fed up in himself, and it turned out to actually be mites starting, like very early signs of mites. So again, nip it in the bud. You can buy treatment over the counter at the vets. It's not going to hurt just to treat them if you think they've got mites. So we treat Bear and it's absolutely amazing now. His coat looks great. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. There's a lot of parasites guinea pigs can get. So it's good to have a read up about that and just get a bit more knowledgeable regarding parasites. Baldness as well in females you have to be mindful of. Males can be pretty prone to ovarian cysts. We've had about, I think we've had about 3 females who've had ovarian cysts, and Tilly's actually showing signs now. It's more as they get a bit older, they start to lose a bit of hair, they start to go a bit thin, mainly on their abdomen. The teats go a bit crusty, so, and the behaviour can change. So it's really important to also keep an eye on that too, and take them to the vets if you think they've got ovarian cysts. So that can be another indication of why they might be bald in females. Okay, so once we've looked at the coat condition, I would probably just feel his body. Just, are there any lumps or bumps? Does he feel bloated? Because bloated is pretty common in guinea pigs and also life-threatening. So it's really important again that you pick up on that as early as possible if you suspect bloat, and take him to the vets. Now, Noah does not feel bloated. He feels nice and squishy, which is what a guinea pig should feel like. Nice and chunky. Hey, nice and chunky. So, and if they are bloated, you can just gently tap the abdomen, and if they sound hollow, that can be a sign that they are bloated. Bloat is also a very painful condition for a guinea pig also, so generally they would probably act unwell if they were bloated, so just keep an eye on that too. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Noah does actually have like a little bump, like a little lump on his neck here. It's kind of like an abscess because you can squeeze it, which is kind of gross, but he's been checked and we suspect it's probably from everything he went through regarding his teeth, his toe amputation. He had a lot of injections, so we suspect it's the injection site, and it's kind of like a reaction, and he's just always got that now, unfortunately. But that's okay, it doesn't bother him or anything like that. Want a treat? Hey, you want a little treat? Good boy. You've been such a good boy, Noah. Yeah, he's such a good boy. Yummy. I think he's quite happy having a healthcare check because it means he gets extra treats, which I'm sure he's not complaining about, and he gets extra attention. He absolutely loves human interaction, especially my human interaction. It's something I feel like I always need to give him, like almost on a daily basis, because everything he went through, I nursed him quite a lot, so he had so much attention and affection, and I feel like now he just like craves it. Like, he's such a golden boy, he's just such a good boy. I can't even like explain how amazing he is. He's so amazing. Is that yummy? Yeah. He's such a good boy. Shall we carry on with your healthcare check? Shall we? Right, so once we've felt the lumps and bumps, you can also gently feel the abdomen, if there's anything there. So once we've felt for lumps and bumps, then I'd probably start checking the claws. So as we know, as some of you may know, Noah has only 3 toes on this one, so it makes my life a little easier, where he's got 1 less claw to clip, considering they're all black. So black claws are the hardest to clip, and it can be a bit daunting if you're not used to pig's claws. I've had a lot of practice over the years, but I know there's a lot of people that don't like doing it, especially if their claws are black like Noah's. So you can go to a vet or a nurse and they will trim the claws for you. So with the claws, we don't want them to curl because that's going to make it really uncomfortable for them to walk. Noah's do obviously slightly curl inwards, but that's only because he's getting older now, and when they get older their quicks do slightly curl under. Which is kind of like unavoidable sometimes. Wanna choose your treat? Gonna choose one or not? Too much choice? Got one? Which one you gonna get? Oh, that's a big one. Good boy. So we just want to check their claws. They don't need doing every single week. I do mine every couple to a few weeks. So you don't need to worry about it too often. Is that yummy? Hey. I think all the other guinea pigs have actually heard him munching and I think they're going to have a treat too. You enjoying that, Noah? Is that so yummy? So with boys as well, I mean all guinea pigs get impacted, but boys are quite prone to becoming impacted. It's not something I've really had an issue with, especially my boys currently, Bear and Noah. It can be quite common as they get older as well to have impactation. There are things on Google and probably YouTube of how to clean a paw. Again, it's not something I have to do with any of mine currently. I have done in the past, but so I can't really demonstrate how to do that because mine don't need to have that done, and that would be a bit cruel to put him through that unnecessarily. Wouldn't it, Noah? Yeah. Look at his little fat tummy. Little fat tummy. So yeah, And that's kind of the health check in general. But obviously, like I said, like on a day-to-day basis for me especially, the guinea pigs live in the hub of the house. Like, it's the main room, we're always there with them. I can always see what's going on. So I guess for me, I can always see behaviour changes. Is one looking a bit depressed in the corner? Is one not coming out for food? So like, it's not necessarily, don't just rely on the healthcare check itself. Take note of what they're like in the cage. Obviously it's a bit more difficult when they live outdoors, but just spend as much time as possible with them so you can see how they're interacting with their friends as well. Again, if they're eating enough, and just things like that really. And obviously their mobility, are they starting to limp or anything like that, because as they get older they can get arthritis. I had a guinea pig in the past who had it really bad, so just obviously be aware of that too. Don't just rely on their health check at all. But every guinea pig has their own little personality, which is why I love them so much. So you get to know each individual. Like, some are a bit more quiet than others, some are more sociable than others. Noah is actually still popcorns in the cage, which is always a really good sign. They're happy and content, which is really nice because he is 4 this year, so it's really nice to see him still do that. If you're watching this and you've never owned a guinea pig before, just be aware that they are an animal in the day. They feel pain, they get poorly. There's a lot of things they can get poorly with, and it can be pretty expensive. I know that firsthand. Even though my vet is amazing and she keeps costs as low as possible, it is still pretty expensive. And we hope what are you doing? Just nibbling. We hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching.